Lust is one of the most powerful and destructive forces in existence, yet it remains a silent struggle, especially for those set apart for a higher purpose. You won't hear many people talk about it, but the truth is shocking. Those who are called to greatness often face the deepest battles with lust. Why? Shouldn't the most anointed individuals be the most resistant to temptation? In reality, the exact opposite is true. The enemy doesn't waste time on people with no purpose. Instead, he targets those with divine callings, using lust as a deadly weapon to corrupt, distract, and derail them from their destiny. Throughout history, some of the most powerful figures, both in the Bible and in modern times, have faced intense struggles with lust. King David, a man after God's own heart, fell into its trap with Bathsheba. Samson, a mighty warrior chosen by God, was brought down by his weakness for Delilah. Even today, spiritual leaders and chosen ones fight this battle in silence, too ashamed to speak about it and too entangled to break free. But why is this struggle so intense for those called to a higher purpose? It's not just about human weakness, it's a spiritual war. If the enemy can pollute the purity of a chosen one, he can weaken their power, distort their vision, and keep them from fulfilling their divine assignment. If you've ever wondered why this battle feels relentless, you're not alone. Here are 5 shocking reasons why chosen ones secretly struggle with lust and what you need to know to break free. Reason number 1, spiritual sensitivity makes temptation stronger. Those who are spiritually gifted often experience life on a deeper level. Their heightened awareness allows them to sense divine guidance, discern spiritual truths, and connect with higher wisdom. However, this same sensitivity also exposes them to intense temptations, especially when it comes to lust. The enemy understands that chosen ones are not easily deceived by obvious distractions. Instead, he uses more subtle tactics, exploiting their heightened emotions, desires, and vulnerability. Lust is one of the most effective weapons in this strategy because it strikes at both the mind and body, creating a powerful internal battle. The stronger a person's spiritual calling, the greater the effort to lead them astray. Temptation doesn't always come in the form of obvious sin. It often appears as something seemingly harmless, an emotional connection, a longing for intimacy, or a moment of weakness. But because chosen ones feel everything so deeply, what starts as a minor temptation can quickly become a consuming struggle. Their heightened awareness makes them more susceptible to both divine inspiration and spiritual attacks. Moreover, spiritual energy is attractive not just to those who seek truth, but also to forces that seek to corrupt it. Many chosen ones unknowingly draw attention from people and influences that can pull them into lustful situations. Without strong spiritual discipline, it becomes easy to mistake temptation for genuine connection. This battle isn't just about controlling physical urges. It's about maintaining purity of mind, heart, and spirit. Lust is a targeted attack meant to weaken spiritual clarity and disrupt divine purpose. Understanding this is the first step in overcoming it. Reason number 2, isolation leads to hidden battles. Isolation is one of the greatest challenges that chosen ones face. Being set apart for a higher purpose often means walking a path that few can understand. While solitude can be a blessing, allowing for deep reflection, spiritual growth, and a stronger connection with God, it also comes with hidden dangers. One of the most significant is the struggle with lust. When a person lacks strong accountability, their battles become private, making them harder to overcome. Temptation thrives in secrecy. Without close friends, mentors, or spiritual leaders to provide guidance and correction, chosen ones can fall into cycles of sin without anyone noticing. What begins as a small indulgence can quickly spiral into a destructive habit, leading to guilt, shame, and a weakened spiritual state. Furthermore, loneliness creates emotional voids. Many chosen ones experience seasons of isolation where they feel misunderstood, rejected, or disconnected from others. Lust often disguises itself as comfort, offering a false sense of intimacy and relief from inner struggles. It provides a temporary escape, but in reality it deepens the wound, making it even harder to resist in the future. The enemy knows that an isolated person is more vulnerable. This is why great leaders, prophets, and spiritual warriors often fall, not because they are weak, but because they have no one holding them accountable. Overcoming this battle requires intentional effort, seeking out godly relationships, engaging in fellowship, and being transparent about struggles. Victory is not found in willpower alone, but in community, discipline, and divine strength. Breaking free from hidden battles starts with stepping out of isolation and into the support system God has placed around us. Reason number 3. A high calling attracts greater attacks. The higher the calling, the greater the opposition. Those chosen for divine assignments don't just face ordinary struggles, they endure relentless attacks designed to weaken their faith, drain their strength, and derail their purpose. Lust is one of the most strategic weapons used against them, because it attacks not only the body but also the mind and spirit. Spiritual warfare intensifies for individuals with a strong destiny. The enemy understands that if he can compromise their purity, he can diminish their influence and effectiveness. Many great leaders, prophets, and warriors throughout history have fallen due to unchecked desires. What makes lust particularly dangerous is that it doesn't just tempt the flesh, it distorts discernment, fuels guilt, and creates a cycle of secrecy that distances individuals from God. The Bible warns about this level of warfare. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces of darkness. This means chosen ones aren't simply battling personal weaknesses, they are up against targeted spiritual opposition. The enemy knows that if he can entangle them in sin, he can silence their voice and cripple their impact. Additionally, with great calling comes increased responsibility. Many who carry divine assignments are looked up to by others, making their struggles even more isolating. The pressure to uphold an image of strength often prevents them from seeking help, leaving them more vulnerable. However, awareness is the first step to victory. Understanding that these attacks are deliberate strategies allows chosen ones to guard themselves through prayer, accountability, and discipline. The enemy may try to derail them, but with spiritual wisdom and resilience, they can rise above the trap and fulfill their God-given purpose. Reason number 4. Emotional wounds create open doors. Many chosen ones carry deep emotional wounds, scars from rejection, abandonment, betrayal, or childhood trauma. These unresolved wounds don't just cause pain, they create spiritual openings that make them more vulnerable to temptation, especially lust. When a person experiences emotional pain, their soul instinctively seeks comfort. If true healing isn't pursued, the enemy offers lust as a counterfeit solution, a temporary escape that numbs the pain but never truly satisfies. This is why many chosen ones unknowingly fall into a cycle of unhealthy relationships, pornography, or secret struggles with impure thoughts. They aren't just battling lust, they're fighting an internal war against loneliness, unworthiness, and deep-seated insecurities. Lust disguises itself as a quick fix, offering a false sense of connection and validation. However, instead of healing the wound, it deepens the cycle of shame, leaving a person feeling more broken than before. The enemy understands this dynamic well and exploits emotional wounds to keep chosen ones trapped in patterns of self-destruction. The key to breaking free isn't just resisting lust, it's healing at the root. True deliverance comes through addressing past pain, seeking God's restoration, and developing emotional resilience. This requires prayer, inner work, and sometimes even counseling to fully uproot the pain that gives lust its power. The chosen one's greatest strength is their ability to overcome adversity. By closing these emotional doors and pursuing true healing, they can break free from lust's grip and step fully into their divine calling without the chains of past wounds holding them back. Reason number 5. Strong spiritual gifts come with a weak flesh. The presence of strong spiritual gifts does not eliminate human weakness. In fact, it often highlights it. Many chosen ones possess extraordinary wisdom, insight, and divine favor, yet they remain vulnerable to the desires of the flesh. This paradox is not a coincidence, it is a reality that has existed throughout history. The greater the spiritual anointing, the greater the need for discipline. Those gifted with deep spiritual awareness often experience intense internal battles because their flesh resists the very calling placed upon them. While their spirit longs for divine connection, their human nature remains susceptible to temptation. Lust, in particular, becomes a powerful distraction, pulling them away from their higher purpose. The Bible reminds us that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, Matthew 26:41. This struggle is evident in figures like the Apostle Paul, who acknowledged his war with the flesh despite his deep connection with God. Even today, many leaders, pastors, and spiritually inclined individuals find themselves wrestling with desires they cannot openly discuss. Without consistent spiritual discipline, prayer, fasting, and renewing the mind, temptation gains ground. The enemy understands this and uses lust as a weapon to weaken chosen ones. He knows that if he can break their self-control, he can cloud their judgment, drain their spiritual strength, and keep them from fulfilling their divine mission. However, awareness of this struggle is the first step toward overcoming it. Chosen ones must actively strengthen their spirit through intentional efforts, guarding their hearts and minds against influences that fuel temptation. With self-discipline, accountability, and divine guidance, they can master their flesh instead of being ruled by it, ensuring their gifts serve their purpose rather than becoming their downfall. Lust is a battle many chosen ones fight in silence, yet it is one of the most dangerous weapons used to derail those with a divine purpose. It's not just a personal struggle, it's a targeted spiritual attack. The enemy knows that if he can entangle a chosen one in lust, he can weaken their spiritual strength, distort their vision, and delay their destiny. But here's the truth, this battle can be won. No matter how intense the struggle feels, no temptation is stronger than the power of God. The key to victory lies in awareness, discipline, and spiritual resilience. Recognizing that lust is more than just a physical urge, it's a strategic attack, allows chosen ones to fight back with the right weapons: prayer, fasting, accountability, and renewing the mind. Isolation fuels temptation, but community brings strength. Chosen ones must seek connections with those who uplift their spirit, rather than walking this journey alone. Healing from past emotional wounds, setting firm boundaries, and staying deeply rooted in God's presence are essential for breaking free from the enemy's traps. History has shown that even the greatest spiritual leaders have stumbled in this battle, but it has also shown that redemption is always possible. King David fell, yet he was restored. Samson lost his way, but in the end he fulfilled his mission. Their stories serve as both warnings and encouragements. Falling is not the end, getting back up is what matters. The question now is, will you fight or will you fall? Will you allow this struggle to define you, or will you rise above it, strengthened by divine power? The choice is yours, but remember, you were chosen for something greater.